What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Fuel Your Champion podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Acerbo, and today we have my soul sister, client, friend, adopted sister, Stevie Coleman, on the podcast. Yeah. So Stevie is a professional boxer. But Stevie and I actually met because her and my sister were friends in like middle school.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew Stevie for a long time. And then you messaged me like last year on Instagram. You're like, yo, do you still do nutrition? I was like, yeah, that's like what I do. What do you mean? And you're like, oh, can you help me like cut weight for my next fight? I was like, sure. And then I just think this is funny because you were like, I thought you were a life coach.
I was gonna say, the only reason I asked you about if you did nutrition still is because I thought you were a life coach because we didn't even talk at that moment.
Yeah.
Really.
Which is cool because I'm kind of going in that direction. But anyway, so we like prepped for the fight, and then somehow I started like life coaching you and like mindset coaching you, but
yeah, I don't even remember.
Yeah, somehow it kind of came out. I think I just was like talking to you how like I want to start doing that, and you're like, you should, because I thought you were, and you're really good at it. And now we're just soul sisters because we realize we're like on the same wavelength with stuff.
The same.
So something we want to talk about today is something we talk about a lot and have both kind of like realized is so freaking cool and like important is energy, masculine and feminine energies, kind of what they are, how they've like affected and influenced our lives as like athletes, as individuals, like in relationships, everything. And just kind of let it flow. It's kind of the goal.
Yeah.
But I kind of didn't really talk. I mean, why don't you give a quick intro of like who you are and like how you kind of got to where you're at right now?
I'm Stevie. I'm a professional boxer. That's kind of my main thing, and that's doing that and being in that. I feel like that has brought me closer to like learning about energy because it's so important. Like within everything that you do, within your workouts, within your confidence, within like how you carry yourself, and along with Sarah's big thing, self-worth. So everything that you do and everything that you want for yourself, it comes down to like how much worth you have for yourself.
Beautifully said. I don't know if I ever asked you this, but like, how did you kind of discover energies? Like all that stuff.
I think one of my friends in high school was literally like, you need this healing stone. It kind of just all started from there because I was like, what is that? And it really just intrigued me. And I just started kind of just going into that and then like learning about like, you just have so much within you that you should really be aware of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about you?
I like kind of knew about like crystals and stuff, but I didn't really understand it. I was like, it's cool, I guess. Like, whatever. It's kind of like woo woo, whatever.
Yeah.
And then like last year, I don't really remember like how, but I just started like, I just started like finding so much information about it, and like people hadn't talked about it. And then I hired my friend Keely, who I've had on the podcast before, who was like all about that stuff. And then I kind of just started diving into it. And yeah, as I've like noticed and like learned about them, I guess we'll talk about the difference between like what they are and like in a sec, but just I realized that I was very, very in my masculine for a long time, and it led to like burnout and kind of, I think as a part of the reason, like the whole self-worth thing, like I felt like I had a bad relationship with like feminine energy, and kind of felt like if I wasn't working on something, like I felt lazy or like unworthy to rest, and like I didn't see the value in all of these things and like being creative and resting and relaxing and having fun. I was like, I gotta work because I have goals and I gotta work on this shit. So like, yeah, that's kind of how I realized like how important they are and the balance of them.
Yeah, I hear you. It's like a yin yang.
Yes. Yeah. Why don't we start with like defining what they are?
Yeah.
So like, you want to go? Let me do it. Okay. So everything's energy. This is physics, quantum physics. Everything's energy. This microphone, like my voice, the sound, my body, everything is energy. And pretty much everything's a mix of masculine energies and feminine energies. So like masculine is like doing things, like building, organizing, deciding, confidence. Feel free to like jump, like throw some stuff in there.
Leadership,
But like leadership, decisiveness. It's kind of like what society is like has created I feel like society has created this idea that that's what success is. Like you're always doing stuff like grind mode, like like push through it, like emotions make you weak. And then feminine energy is like receptive. Like I'm open to receiving help, receiving blessings, like being creative, like going with the flow. What else? I'm like blanking.
I feel like big one is like being
rest,
open
fun.
to people.
Being
like trusting. Magnetic. I feel like that's one. Like a feminine energy. And creative. Did you say that?
Creative.
Intuitive.
Intuitive. Yep. That's definitely one. So those are kind of like the energies.
So what's like toxic masculinity and toxic femininity?
So I'm not an expert in this, but what I've kind of realized is toxic masculinity is like denying your emotions. Thinking that emotions are weak. It's like
I feel like society loves toxic masculinity.
It's like this fake confidence too, I feel like.
It's like your ego. Like
and like, should we give examples?
Like how I used to go to the gym and be like, I'm working on it. Literally, I'm like making sure no one's looking at me, and I'm like super closed off. Like I wouldn't walk up to me and say anything to me. So I feel like that's an example of like toxic masculinity.
I don't know if that would be like toxic masculinity, but I think that's like, I find a lot of people that like kind of embody that, have that quality. Like they're very in their ego, like you said.
I hear what you're
like
saying.
When I think of toxic masculinity, it's like the same. I was like, if I like when I was very masculine, I also was like very like, again, like it wasn't real confidence. It was like, I'm gonna have my guard up. I'm gonna be like don't fucking talk to me. Like I don't want to talk to you. Like don't mess with me kind of vibe. Even though I'm a really nice person, but like that was the vibe I was giving off. Because that was my way of protection is another big part of like masculine energy. Like grounding, protection, discipline.
And it's funny because like protection could be like a good thing, but also if you're like too protected in yourself, you're closed off.
And that's where the balance of like feminine energy comes in. So what I've learned is like someone who has integrated both of these energies in a healthy way, it's like, for example, like women, we should be able to embrace our feminine energy of like being like really like open and like friendly and like let it flow and like, but we need to feel comfortable and safe enough to do that. So like our internal masculine energy needs to be like healthy enough where like I feel secure, I feel protected enough for me to be able to like channel my emotions and like feel my emotions and like be creative. Because if I feel like really insecure and not safe, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna be really closed off. I'm gonna be like not in my feminine. Like you can't. And like I think a good example is like I can literally see this now is like I'll see people, and especially women or like men who are like really, really masculine, like I don't think they really have that full security to be able to embrace their emotions, especially men. Like that's like the like what society has created, this idea of like, oh, emotions are weak, like feminine energy is weak. You know?
No, absolutely. Society definitely, like, I feel like anything that has to do with like being feminine with your energy is like considered weak. in a lot of like aspects of society. And then masculine, that's like you said, like the way that people want you to be is like, oh, get up today and grind and go chase your goals and go like get the bag. It's like sometimes like the bag is like peace. I think that's the bag. You know what I mean? Like that's the most important thing and that's, you know, you can't really have peace without balancing your energies or even like knowing about your energies and that they're there.
Yeah. Can you think of examples like in your life where like you didn't have that balance and it was like creating like there was not that peace, like it was creating like chaos like within you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's definitely been a lot of times. I feel like just the fact that it's hard to like if you're too in your masculine, it's hard to like open up to people and trust people and you're like very like protective but in like your own self. And that makes it hard for you to like create bonds and like just be like present with people because you're always like in your masculine, you're always like closed off. So I feel like that's probably a really common thing with people.
Yeah, 100%. That's like really common. Like I was there. I've had to like really work on like embracing my feminine energy. Like, so I'll give an example too, is like, so I was in my masculine energy for so long and it wasn't really in a healthy way. And there were so many things last year where like especially bodybuilding is a very, very masculine sport, like discipline, all these things. And just so many things happened last year where God was like, yeah, like I'm taking all this shit away from you. So you can real, like one of the things was like for me to go like kind of in my feminine energy.
Yeah.
And I like, I gotta find like, I gotta get Angie, my friend Lisa to like vouch for this, but like I started like wearing like really feminine clothes and like doing my makeup and Angie was like, you're feminine now. And it was like too much to the point where I was like not going to the gym. Like I didn't want to do anything disciplined. I was just like, I was so like I just like went totally the complete opposite of what I was doing. And now I feel like I've integrated both.
Yeah.
Much better.
Yeah.
But
it's hard. Like
to
have them both. Because sometimes I feel like for a while I felt like I couldn't have both. Like I feel like I had to be like either feminine or masculine, but that's not the case.
Same. I felt the same way. And I actually did, I will definitely admit, like I kind of viewed really feminine women as like weak. I was like, oh, I never want to be like that. Like I remember thinking that.
Yeah, no, I definitely and that's the thing, like I feel like I learned from society, like if I saw like a woman that was super like comfortable in her own like femininity, I'd be like, oh, she's like weak or something. It's like actually I was weak because I wasn't balanced in my own energy or comfortable in my own energy. So if you have both masculine and feminine energy, that's when you can like find that balance, I feel like.
Yeah, I think like so like me looking back on like how I used to view like girls and women who were like really feminine, I thought it was weak, but in reality it's like they feel secure enough with themselves and safe enough, like they have a healthy masculine energy, that they feel safe enough to express themselves. And if someone ever disrespects them, they like are secure enough in themselves, they don't really care what they say, but two, they are strong enough and secure enough to hold those boundaries and say like F no, you can't do that to me. Like that's a healthy masculine feminine balance, you know. I kind of like an example of like a healthy man too, because I feel like there's such an awful stigma for men especially, that like emotions are bad and weak, and it's not. I have something to comment, but you like you want to say on that?
No, I want to hear what you gotta say about this.
Okay, so my thoughts are, first think of like dating is like men that are emotionally unavailable because they don't feel comfortable enough to like feel the emotions. Like they've been taught that it's really weak to cry and like open their hearts and be vulnerable to like to their woman or whoever they're dating. And they think it's weak. So like that's why there's that, again, like I think it's like that stigma of like, oh, emotions are weak, so I'm just gonna be like really like tough and like not show them. But in reality, like I've had to learn this like kind of the hard way is like I want a man who is emotionally available. Like I want someone who is vulnerable, who is like shows their emotions, you know? Because one, like that's not like what's the point of life if you can't feel your emotions?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
I feel like some men are like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like a wounded masculine guy is like they don't even know how to like feel their emotions. They just like they just get mad or they just get whatever they're feeling. They don't even like bother to be like, why am I feeling this way? What is this feeling?
Yeah. Oh,
I've been there too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've been so in my masculine and I was be like, I don't have feelings. Like it's not the way you do have feelings. Like
yeah. Oh, okay. So I'll give a really good example of this because I remember this specifically, and I was just thinking about this the other day actually. I remember in college. So I went to undergrad for athletic training and we had to do like clinical rotations. And I remember I like walked into the athletic training room one morning and like my preceptor was really chill. She was like only a couple years older than me. And I can't remember what happened exactly, but like I was really upset that morning. And I think like some dude, like I was pissed at some dude or whatever. He was a jerk. And like I remember walking in and I don't remember what happened, but I started crying and I was just like, I'm so like tired of like I've just been so hurt. And I just like basically told her, I was like, for so long, I just turned my emotions off. And I was like, fuck everyone. Like, I don't want to get hurt. So I'm just going to close my heart off. Where that actually made me feel worse.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens is like, especially with men and women too, for sure, actually. But we get hurt because we let people in. We feel these emotions. We are like, oh, fuck, like I got let down. Now my heart's broken. I'm just going to put a bunch of walls up to quote unquote protect myself. But now you're just left not feeling any kind of emotion and you're miserable and you feel lonely. And that's why I think men get so depressed because especially, I keep saying men because this is so common with men is like the stigma.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
make it feel like it's not okay to even like have those feelings.
Yeah. And they just sort of shove it down and then they feel so alone.
Yeah.
You know, where they can't express their emotions without feeling they're weak. And I did that. Like I did that too. Cause I remember literally like I walked it. That's like the day I like realized like I can't do that. Cause I'm like, this isn't making me feel any better.
Yeah.
I'm still miserable.
Yeah. It's crazy to be in that like frame of mind. Cause you really like, you are alone. Like you don't feel like you can connect with anybody because you don't want to, because you don't want to get hurt. Which you might not get hurt in that sense, but that's not a way to live your life. Like you should feel those emotions. You should connect with people. You should explore the types of energies that you have.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think that some people are like just naturally more in their masculine and naturally more in their feminine?
I don't know. I don't know. Like
that came to my mind. I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Cause it's like, you know,
like, is it the way you're raised? Is it naturally kind of just how you are? Is it, I mean, sure, it's both, but yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I feel
like in a, like, it could even be like the town that you grow up in, like how they are, like the demographic there. Like they might not let you be like super masculine. They might not let you be super feminine. Just like let you, you know?
Yeah.
But
that's a good question. I think it's a mix of things. But I think part of it could be like the way you're born, I think.
Yeah. I kind of feel like in terms of energy, like masculine and feminine, like it's not always like portrayed as like people, like you can't just put labels on someone for like how they dress and be like, oh, they're masculine. Yeah. Because it's not. Yeah. It's just like clothes. You know what I mean? It's not really like their energy and how they handle their emotions and deal with stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk about kind of why the balance is so important a bit more. So like you're kind of channeling more of your feminine energy.
Trying.
how
is important.
Yeah. What do you feel like you've been working on and like how has that been helping you?
The main thing, which was like always had me in my masculine, was like not being able to like open up to people. And it's like it's really like you like close off like I don't know, like your heart chakra. Yeah. Like, and I think just trying to be more open and kind of like giving people the benefit of the doubt instead of being like, no, they're gonna hurt me. Like that's just not the way to be. Like if they do hurt you, like okay, that's what happened. But like you move on and you know you learn from it. But I think that that's like the main thing that I'm trying to do is just like open up more and trust more and just you know I feel like again like it's negative and positive too, you know what I mean? And I'm not like I'm trying to get out of my toxic masculinity, my toxic femininity and into like a strong both.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I got you. I got you. Do you feel like so you're talking about being open, like trusting people. So do you notice it mostly like within relationships with people that you're focusing on?
Yeah, definitely like in relationships, but also within like friendships, within like I mean like anything. Like just looking up to like my boss or my friend or like a stranger at the grocery store. Like I just am trying to give people the benefit of the doubt and it's actually like causing me to like create more connections and like talk to people that I usually wouldn't talk to before and like I'm definitely trying to like tone down the, you know, don't fucking talk to me.
Yeah.
And it's like it's causing like other people to like come up to me more and just start conversations and it's nice to be like a part of people, you know what I mean? And not just like think that, you know, that's not the way that you have to be.
Yeah, like giving people the benefit of the doubt and like seeing the good in them and like just instead of like assuming that like, oh, they're gonna hurt me. Like,
yeah.
You know?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I started seeing so like when I kind of started learning about this balance, it was more like in the athletic realm because I was so into needing to like be in grind mode, like go, like sleeps for the week, like I'll sleep when I'm dead kind of thing. And it created so much anxiety and extra stress on me. And it was like a whole like anxiety and stress. I felt like if I wasn't working or wasn't doing well in my work, it affected my self-worth. I also started getting like really bad digestive issues and my like CNS, my nervous system was just so like shot because I was like so stressed out and like didn't rest, didn't recover, didn't know how to like calm my breathing down. And then like even like I started seeing in my coaching, like I had no creativity, like because I was just always trying to figure out what to do next. I never gave myself time to like, hey, why don't you go like actually like play and like hang out and like chill and then the ideas will come to you. And like when I started like relaxing more and like focusing on like having more fun and like relaxing and meditating and like taking days off, my body felt better. My physique started looking better. I was getting stronger. I started getting more ideas with my coaching. Like I started having more fun with it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. So like that really showed me that like, wow, like there's actually a really big benefit of doing like both, like finding that balance. And now I like really make an effort because I can easily be like I gotta work and then I'm like no, like relax, it'll come to you, you know. So I'm still finding that balance between like kind of finding that creative flow and like being disciplined and dedicated, but it's been like really helpful in like all areas of my life for sure.
Yeah, I bet. I feel like it could help a lot of people. Everybody.
Yeah. And that's like what I want to show people is like I want to show people like what I've realized with this, especially within athletics and I mean in life too, because I just see a lot of, I can like see people doing kind of what I used to do.
Yeah.
With like having to like grind and like I feel like shit and I have like 10 ounces of had like 1,000 milligrams of freaking caffeine today and I feel like shit and my anxiety is to the roof, but I'm gonna go train now and I'm like, well, you're probably not doing anything beneficial for your body, so that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like toxic masculinity is huge in sports.
Yeah,
like I know it's huge in boxing anyways and like I mean there's some fighters, some coaches who are like, I mean, they could be like hurt and be like, fuck it, like I can do anything. And it's just like, no, you really can't. You know, you have to be like, you have to take care of yourself. And kind of like how Sarah was saying, I've definitely multiple training camps for me, like I've gotten sick. And I think that's, I mean, I know that's because I don't take the time to rest. I just go and I'm like, you know, you're obviously like you're in a calorie deficit, you're not eating the same, and then you're overtraining, it's harder to sleep. And it's like, it'd be way more beneficial if I just took those days off that I needed and to recuperate, and a day off here and there, that's actually way more beneficial than just burning yourself out. And I think that's definitely like a thing that I know, working with Sarah as like a life coach, that's helped me to realize that, and it's helped me in my training to like embrace and embody both of those energies.
Ooh, I love that. That's awesome. When you were talking, I thought of kind of like the extremes. So like, first of all, I just want to preface this with like, everyone's balance is going to look different. What you find balance, like what balances you, is going to be different for everyone else. And there's also like a time and place for certain things. Like there's going to be a point, like for example, bodybuilding, like when you're 8 weeks out from a show, like you're just not going to be recovered. You're going to feel like shit. You're going to be tired. You're not going to be recovered. Like you're going to be feeling like shit. Like that's just how it is. Right.
Yeah.
So like we're talking primarily about like in general, there's going to be a time and place where like you need to just fucking chill, or you need to like just deal with it, you know? So I just want to preface that. But I was thinking about like, what about these other, so I'm sure people are going to think this, like, what about these other great examples? Like, I really like that David Goggins. Like, have you like heard of anything he does and like
Some stuff? I've like watched some videos.
Okay. So like, I love him. He's made a huge impact on my life. I think of other examples of like just other really great athletes and like other people who've done like really amazing things. So like David Goggins, he's just done like a lot of like extreme things. Like he ran like 100-mile race without training for it, and like he had like broken feet and like just shit like that.
Yeah.
So like, but he really inspired me. So I can feel like people listening to this are gonna be like, what about people like that? Like, what do you have to say about that?
That's what you're saying, yeah.
You know? So like, again, I think it's like,
but that doesn't mean that he doesn't like take time for himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like he does talk a lot about like, or not a lot, but he does talk about, he's like, when I'm like not doing something, I'm just chilling. Like when I'm having my breakfast, I'm just eating my breakfast. Like when I'm driving, I'm just driving. Like I'm not doing anything else. I don't know, I'm just gonna go with that. But I just, because I guess
sometimes you need to be like,
and I think, I'm really just curious in your thoughts on that stuff. Like, can you think of examples of like people like that who've done like these really not elite, extreme things? Like my mind is like, but they're so inspiring, Sarah. So like, how can you say you've got to be balanced? Because like that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I guess I kind of answered my own question, but I feel like it's just like a lifestyle. Like there's gonna be time and place where you're not balanced, but at the end of the day, it's like, as long as you can recenter yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like some people like, I feel like I just have a lot of energy in general. Like I feel like I can come off as a lot because there's a lot.
Yeah.
And for me, like the way that I work out to other people would probably be like, the fuck? And then other people, it's probably like, oh, that's not enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I do, like I'm trying and I'm like getting into the point where I do what works for me and what makes me feel good. And sometimes like, honestly, like the times that I feel the best is like when I push myself to like the absolute limit in the gym. But you can't do that every day because you're just, it's not a balance.
Yeah, that's really good. Like that's a really good answer because that's a really good answer. Like we just said. Okay, so like we just said, like how it's like you might have times where you kind of go past that like I think of like a rubber band, like you're stretching it and stretching it and stretching it, but eventually it's going to go back to equilibrium.
Yeah.
But the issue is if you like stretch it and stretch it and stretch it and it breaks, that's the problem. And like some people go so far into their extreme, like they're extreme masculine, that they get so to the point where they forget how to deal with their emotions and they're just completely like so like depressed and like they feel alone. And like that's when like really bad issues come in, like self-worth issues, you know? Or for example, like training, like people that like oh my God, some athletes like I'm training 6-7 days a week and I'm training like twice a day and I'm eating like no food. I'm like, well, that's fucking stupid because you're not recovering. Like you training, doing 1 rep maxes every single day is not helping anyone. Like you're not making any progress and just like not smart. So yeah, I think it's like I'm the same way too with training. Like I really enjoy training to failure. That's when I feel the most like productive and like I really feel good after that training, but I'm also balancing it with like I'm gonna go home and go for a walk and I'm gonna go meditate and I'm gonna eat my wholesome foods and it's about balance, I guess. But finding your balance, I guess.
Like I feel like if like when you said like people get so far into their masculine that they start to like lose their self-worth, and I think that can go like the same with feminine for sure. Like I feel like I've also kind of been there. You know what I mean? Like and I feel like that like comes to like you're not taking care of your own energy. You know what I mean? Like you're like in a way like when you're always like grinding and doing this, like you're kind of like deserting yourself in a different way. You know what I mean? And it like no one would ever see that because you seem so like on top of the world, but really like your own world's like fucked up because you're not taking care of yourself. Like you said, when you train really hard at the gym and then you come home and you meditate or you draw or whatever, like something creative, that's that balance that you need. And I don't think like people realize that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm trying to do my best with it, but it's a huge like learning curve. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think like this podcast is like the start to that. Like I think because society especially has made this idea that being really masculine is really healthy, or I should say toxic masculinity is like the idea is the way. And then they've created the idea that femininity is bad. And then that's why we have all these mental health issues and all these other issues. And like, and then again, like you can't see as easily someone's like feminine side, like their emotions. Like someone could be really, really productive in their business or their athletic career on the outside, but they might be miserable on the inside and like really like, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like maybe that's why it's so much this is my own thoughts. Like I feel like maybe it's harder for people to notice that because it's like feminine, like creative, like emotions, all that stuff is more like unseen. Like I've definitely looked at people and like they're so successful and be like them, and you just see the actions they're doing, the discipline they have, and I still find that so attractive. But you don't really know what's going on inside of them. And I think this is okay. I'm gonna kind of go on a little rant, but I've gotten to meet some really cool people, like people that are literally like millionaires, like coaches and stuff like that. And I find like I've always thought they were really successful. And then I find out that, or maybe they're not millionaires, or just I consider them successful. And I've come to find out that they're not happy. Like literally professional bodybuilders, like big coaches, like I've literally spoken to them and I can like see them and I'm like, they're miserable. And like athletes, I know so many bodybuilders that used to do bodybuilding and they had no feminine energy. They didn't balance it. And now they're burnt out and they don't do bodybuilding anymore. Like I've seen it. I've spoken to people and I've been one of those people. And that's why I'm like so passionate about like this balance, because you don't see that stuff as easily. Like you just on Instagram and stuff, you just see like, oh, they won their fight or they won their show or they have like a bajillion clients and they're really successful. But like, how's your balance? How's your life? How do you feel about yourself? Like, you really happy?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like in like when I first went pro in like 2021, I was not balancing my energies. Like I feel like I was training so hard that I was getting tired in my fights. And that's like the perfect example of like, then it's like you start to learn and be like, okay, like you like recovery is just as important as like pushing yourself, and that's like with everything, not just athletics. And now it's like I feel like I'm like coming a little bit more into it, and I can like go the rounds and not get tired. Like the last fight that I won 4 rounds, I barely got tired, and it's like it was crazy to me, and it's because I took the time to rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
What? Something just came to your mind?
I was just thinking of examples, like, for example, like people trying to lose body fat. Like, I've had so many clients, I'm like, okay, we plateaued. Let's take 2 days off from the gym. And they drop like 3-4 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, because your body was stressed out and it wasn't gonna keep responding well because it needs recovery. And like,
didn't that happen when you were working with me?
Yeah.
Like I dropped like 4 pounds.
I'm pretty
like,
sure.
I don't
know if we did, but yeah. Yeah. Actually, yeah, I remember that. I think I took the caffeine out too, or something. I tried
that was terrible.
Pull the caffeine. I was like, you're having like how many cups of coffee a day?
I was like, I had 3, and it's like 11 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. I also think of the examples of like, because now my priority is more like my business and my coaching versus like my bodybuilding career. And I've also found that I'm more productive in my like coaching because when I'm meditating or going for walks and like planning out parts of my day where I'm just gonna have fun with for myself, that's when I get the best ideas.
Yeah.
But if I'm like sitting at my desk trying to like, what am I gonna write today? What am I gonna do? It's like
what do you call it? The flow state.
Yeah, flow state. Oh, that's very good. Can we talk about that briefly?
Yeah, briefly if you want. I definitely been like very conscious of that lately after you like said it.
Yeah. So flow state is the peak performance state. So I like to use this, like, especially in athletics, is like when, like in movies, especially, like they're just like they're in flow, like they're like it's nothing. They don't hear anything going on around them. They don't hear the audience. They hear nothing. They're just completely in the zone. They're completely present and just purely focused on what's going on with them. So like when you're fighting, we talked about like being in flow state instead of being like, oh, what's she gonna do next? Or like, oh my God, like she's stronger than me. It's like just be in flow. And like I like the example of Muhammad Ali when he's dodging those like 21 freaking punches in like what 10 seconds.
There's no way he was in his head.
He's just so in flow that he's just like it like slows down.
Yeah.
Like a principle and like a thing that's really well known in flow state is that time kind of stops. Like, have you ever been like writing an essay for school when you're younger and you're like get into flow and you're just typing and typing and typing and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I wrote like 10 pages and I thought it was like 5 minutes.
No.
Oh, all right. Well, all right. Not a great example.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Or like I don't know, what's an example? Have you done that in training? Like been in like the zone?
Yeah, that's like my coach literally told me this one time. He was like, I was just like doing my thing one time. I really wasn't thinking much of it. And he was like, what the hell? Like, you look so good right now. And I was like, damn, like, it's because I'm not. It's crazy to say this, but like, when you're not thinking, you like do your best thinking.
Yeah. Okay. You know? I'm excited. So I just thought of something. So this goes along with what you're just saying. So last year, okay, I have a little story. So last year, I was living with my friend Lisa and Angie, and I had planned to, do like a mushroom ceremony, to be honest. And we had some dude come over to work on the house. I was like so upset about it. I was like, I wanted no one to be in the house, and I was like, I'll plan to do this, like this big ceremony. And like I was just so upset about it for like it was like ridiculous. I was like abnormally like upset. Like they were like, "What, Sarah? What the fuck?" So like Lisa was like, "Yo, you need to read this book," and I think it's called "Slowing Down at the Speed of Light" or "Speed of Life," whatever. And basically talks about like you have 2 modes of thinking. You have like analytical mode, which is like the thinking mind, which would be like the masculine energies, like planning things out, like problem solving. And then you have the other one, which is like I think flow state / I think he called it like creative mode / like being present, basically. And he talked about like when you're trying to solve a problem that you don't have all the answers to, it's just like kind of like a machine, not like you're missing like a piece to the puzzle, so it's not going to work. Versus if you just like let it kind of recognize like, okay, I want to figure out this problem, or like I have an idea, like what should I do with it, instead of like trying to sit down and like figure it out. Like if you just say, okay, I'm gonna put it out into the universe, like I want to look for this answer, and then go have fun and go do your thing, it'll come to you. And there's a point of me saying that you just said, but like I've realized that like me actually not trying to figure out the solution actually is what allows me to get the solution. Like there's been so many times where I'm like trying to figure something out, like this challenge I'm doing and stuff. Like instead of me trying to figure it out, I'll just say, okay, like I got this part done. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with the rest of it. I'm gonna let it just come to me. And that's when like the best ideas like just come.
Yeah. To me. Do you think the like art of letting go is like masculine or feminine? I don't know. I feel like it would be like feminine for some reason.
Yeah, I'd say.
I think it's
I don't know if
feminine because when you let go, I feel like stuff comes to you.
Yeah, I think like being in free flow is like flowing with the universe is feminine, but I think you need to have that like healthy masculine energy where you feel comfortable and you trust that it's going to come to you.
Yeah.
Like enough protection and security in yourself.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Like I think of like the chakras, like your lower chakras or your root chakra is masculine, right? So if that's not like secure, then you're not going to feel safe to like be comfortable enough to let it flow.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting.
Have you heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
No.
I don't know too much about him, but he's like a psychologist, or he was a psychologist, and he basically created this like pyramid of like the needs, and the bottom ones are like safety, like just food, water, like just the basic stuff, right? And then the top of it's like creativity and like enlightenment and stuff. But it's like he's basically saying that like you need to have the bottom ones all set for the most part for you to be able to access these like creative thoughts and stuff. Like I think of someone who's homeless, like they're not going to be probably getting too much creativity because they're probably freaking out about like whatever, you know, for the most for the most part. So yeah, that's kind of what I think of when I hear all that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't really have anything else to talk about. I feel like that was
I know, I feel like we pretty much covered like masculine and feminine.
Yeah.
I feel like we talked way more about masculine though.
Yeah.
Probably because we were both like in our masculine.
Yeah, we both I have more experience being too masculine.
Yeah. Me. Do you have any examples of like when you were too feminine?
Like, no. Just like when I first went into that feminine, like it literally was like this month of just like it was so feminine. I was like, fuck discipline. I don't care. Like I didn't go to the gym for a month. Like I just ate whatever I wanted. Like I still ate healthy, but it wasn't like I was wearing all this really feminine clothing. It was weird. I was like, who is this? It's weird. And yeah, I didn't like it either. But that was too much in my feminine. So but now I feel like really good. I feel confident. I feel like I'm more peaceful. Have more joy in my life. Like feel like I'm more productive. I feel like I'm attracting more success. Like so it's been really helpful to like embrace both. And like find that balance. Which I did not have.
Yeah.
Cool. Any last words, Stevie? Last thing you want to add?
No, not really. I feel like I said all I have to say about energy in terms of masculine and feminine.
Yeah. I think that was good. Well, guys, thanks for listeing.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, appreciate it. I'm gonna have Stevie on again, so
definitely. I'm
gonna have her as like a guest co-host. So if you guys have any, well, first of all, I hope you like this episode.
Yeah.
Please subscribe and rate 5 stars. And I would love if you guys like this episode, to share it on Instagram, like on your stories, and like tag the podcast, tag us both. I'll put Stevie's Instagram in the description. And I really like hearing you guys' feedback. So if there's anything that you heard from this episode that like really stuck out to you, like I'd love to hear what it was and like chat with you about it, because I like the conversation's like kind of the point of the podcast.
Yeah.
And then obviously if you have friends that would benefit from it, like please share it. And yeah, that's it. Cool, guys. Well, have a great day. Send you guys some good vibes, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.